The silence of space. The ship was small, old, and broken. It drifted slowly through the endless dark of space. Its lights were weak, flickering like a dying candle. The crew inside sat in silence. They had no energy left to waste. Their bodies were thin, their faces pale. Hunger and fear had eaten away their strength. They had been lost for weeks. Every system was failing. Their engines were dead, their food almost gone, and their water nearly finished. The only thing still working was the signal they kept sending out. A simple call for help, repeated again and again into the empty void. But no one answered. Every day they waited, every day they listened. The same silence returned to them. No voice, no ship, no life. Just the endless black ocean of stars. The silence was worse than death. It was cold, heavy, and cruel. It pressed against their hearts, whispering the same truth. You are alone. No one will come. The crew tried to stay hopeful, but even hope was running out. Their captain, an old alien with gray skin and tired eyes, sat near the broken console. His hands trembled as he pressed the signal button again. The same words left the ship. This is the vessel Serana. We are lost. Engines dead. Supplies gone. Please. Anyone. Help. The words echoed into space. Then silence returned. Always. Silence. The crew members lowered their heads. Some cried quietly. Others stared at the floor, too tired to move. Days passed this way. Their signal became weaker. Their ship grew colder. In the vast emptiness of space, they were nothing. A drifting shell. Forgotten. But then, something changed. One young crew member, her eyes sharp even in the dark, noticed something on the scanner. A faint light. At first, she thought it was another star. But no, it was moving, slowly, steadily, straight toward them. Her heart raced. Captain, something is out there. The crew lifted their heads. Hope flickered for the first time in many days. They rushed to the small screen, their weak bodies trembling with excitement and fear. The light grew stronger. Not a star, not a planet. It was a ship. A massive ship. The alien captain's hands shook. He zoomed the scanner. His eyes widened. The shape was clear now. Dark, sharp, built for war. A warship. Gasps filled the room. Whispers broke the silence. Who is it? Could it be the hunters? Have they found us? No. Look closer. Look at the design. The word passed through the crew like a storm. A word that carried both fear and legend. Human. The crew froze. Every species knew the stories. Humans were not like the others. They were strong, dangerous, and unbroken. They were protectors of their own kind. But to outsiders, no one knew. Some said humans were saviors. Others said they were monsters. The silence inside the Serana grew heavier. What would the humans do if they found them? Would they help, or would they destroy? The ship moved closer, filling the scanner with its dark shadow. Its weapons glowed faintly, ready to fire at a moment's notice. The alien crew's hearts pounded. Fear and hope twisted together inside them. The young crew member whispered, her voice shaking. They heard us. The captain did not answer. His throat was dry, his hands frozen above the console. For so long, no one had answered. For so long, they were alone. Now the silence was broken. By the most feared warriors in the galaxy. He pressed the signal, again his voice weak but steady. This is the vessel Serana. We are lost. Please do not fire. We need help. Seconds passed. Long, heavy seconds. The crew held their breath. Would the humans respond? Then across the void a voice answered. Deep, strong, unshaken. This is the Terran warship Valiant. We hear you. The words hit them like thunder. The crew gasped, some cried, others stared, in disbelief. For weeks they had begged into the void and only silence replied. Now, a human voice had answered without hesitation. The silence of space was broken. Dot. But in that moment of hope, fear remained. The aliens looked at one another, their eyes wide. The humans had answered. But what would they do next? The warship moved closer, its massive shadow covering the Sarana. Lights flashed across its hull, weapons still glowing. The human voice returned. Hold position. Do not be afraid. We are coming. The crew trembled. Was this salvation or the end? No one knew. But one truth was clear: the silence of space was over. And when humans answered a call, the universe itself seemed to hold its breath. The shadow in the stars. The human warship grew larger with every second. On the small scanners of the Sarana, it was like watching a mountain of steel drift through the stars. Its black armor reflected almost no light, making it look less like a ship and more like a shadow moving across the heavens. The alien crew sat frozen, their weak breaths fogged in the cold air of their failing vessel. Their hearts raced, yet no one spoke. The only sound inside the Sarana was the low hum of failing systems, and the steady, cold voice of the humans repeating across the comms. This is the Terran warship Valiant. Hold position. Do not be afraid. We are coming. But how could they not be afraid? For centuries, stories about humans had traveled from world to world. Some called them protectors, others destroyers. Every tale was the same. Humans never hesitated. They acted fast, fought hard, and always with purpose. That was why their name carried weight across the galaxy. That was why the Sarana's crew now trembled. The captain of the Sarana, his gray skin marked with age, leaned closer to the scanner. His eyes narrowed as the warship's outline became clear. The humans had built it like a predator. Sharp lines, heavy armor, and weapons so large they seemed to hum with energy even at rest. The young crew member beside him whispered, "Captain, their guns are online." He saw it too. The massive cannons glowed faintly, ready to fire. His heart sank. If humans had come not to save, but to destroy, then the Sarana was already finished. Still, comma. He pressed the comms. His voice cracked, but he spoke anyway. "This is the vessel Sarana. We have no weapons. We have no fuel. We are not a threat." Static answered. Then, silence. The silence felt like a blade pressed against the throat of every crew member. Inside the Sarana, fear twisted with awe. The young crew stared at the shadow outside. Some whispered prayers, others hugged each other, waiting for death to fall. But the humans did not fire. Instead, the warship drifted closer until it filled every window of the Sarana. It blocked the stars, as if the galaxy itself had disappeared behind its armored frame. For a moment, it felt as though the Sarana was trapped in the belly of a beast. One crew member muttered, "If they wanted us dead, we would already be gone." It was true. Humans were not known for hesitation. The captain nodded slowly, his voice low. "Then maybe they mean to save us." Suddenly, the comms crackled. A new voice spoke. It was firm, clear, and cold as stone. "We are locking onto your vessel. Prepare for boarding." Gasps filled the Sarana. Boarding. The crew exchanged panicked glances. If the humans stepped foot inside, anything could happen. The legends told of human soldiers, giants in armor, fierce in battle, unstoppable in close combat. Would they come, with food and help, or with guns raised? The captain forced his voice steady. "We understand. We will not resist." Minutes stretched like hours. The Sarana shook as a docking arm extended from the human warship and locked onto their hull. The sound of metal grinding against metal echoed through the alien ship, each vibration shaking their weak bodies. The airlock lights flickered. Red turned to green. The door hissed open. And then they saw them. The humans stepped through. They were tall, broad, and armored in black suits that gleamed under the weak lights of the Sarana. Their helmets shone with a red glow, hiding their faces. Each carried a weapon that hummed with deadly power. For a moment, the alien crew cowered. Their minds screamed, "This is the end." But the humans did not fire. Instead, one of them reached into a pack and pulled out a small glowing container. He placed it gently on the floor. The smell of food filled the cold air. Another human dropped a heavy case of water. The Serana's crew stared in disbelief. The leader of the humans stepped forward. His voice came through the speaker, deep and steady. "You are safe now. We will not let you die out here." The aliens were speechless. For weeks they had been abandoned by everyone. Their distress calls had gone unanswered. No one cared if they lived or died. But the humans, feared, whispered about, legendary, had answered without hesitation. Hope flickered. But fear still remained. The young crew member whispered, "Why? Why would they help us?" The captain shook his head. His voice was almost a whisper. "Because that is what makes them dangerous. Not their guns, but their choice. They choose when to fight, and they choose when to save." The humans continued unloading supplies, silent and efficient. Outside, the great warship loomed in the dark, its weapons still glowing faintly, guarding the small vessel like a predator shielding its wounded prey. The shadow and the stars had come. For them, and the crew of the Serana realized something terrifying, and yet comforting all at once. When humans arrived, the universe itself changed. First contact. The Serana was silent again, but not with despair this time. It was the silence of fear, the silence of waiting. Every alien eye was fixed on the figures standing in their ship. The humans. They were taller than expected. Their armor was thick, smooth and black, shining faintly even under the Serana's dying lights. Their helmets glowed red at the edges, hiding their faces. To the crew, they looked less like living beings and more like walking machines, shadows, given form. But it was not their weapons or their armor that made the crew tremble. It was their stillness. The humans moved with no rush, no waste, no hesitation. Every action was precise, measured, almost cold. One human set down a box of food. Another placed a container of water. A third opened a device that hummed softly, restoring power to the failing air system. They were saving the Serana. And yet, no one dared to step forward. The captain of the Serana swallowed hard. His hands shook as he rose from his seat. He was old, his body thin, but his voice carried the weight of leadership. He stepped forward slowly, bowing his head. We thank you. We had no hope left. You saved us." The human leader tilted his helmet slightly, as if studying the alien captain. For a long moment, there was no reply. Then a voice came, deep and clear, through the helmet speaker. "No one should die alone in the dark." The words were simple, but to the crew they cut deeper than any weapon. The captain blinked. His people had begged for weeks. They had sent their cries into the stars, and no one cared. No one came. Until now. Until the humans. Still, doubt whispered in every mind. Why? Why would humans fear to cross the galaxy, help strangers? What did they want in return? The young crew member, the one who first saw the warship, whispered to her friend, "Do you think they will ask for something? Our ship, our service?" Her friend shook his head nervously. "Maybe they want us as soldiers, or maybe this is only the beginning. They feed us now, then later, they demand." The humans seemed to hear the unspoken questions. The leader spoke again, his tone firm, unshaken. "We are not here for payment. We are here because you called, and we answer calls. Always." The aliens were stunned. Always. No one answered always. Empires ignored distress calls every day. Traders turned away from weak ships. Even allies sometimes abandoned each other. But humans claimed to answer every call. The captain felt his chest tighten. He bowed deeper. "We do not understand your kind, but we are grateful." The human leader did not reply this time. Instead, he raised a hand, and two of his soldiers stepped forward. They removed their helmets. Gasps filled the Serana. The crew expected monsters, beasts with sharp teeth or glowing eyes. But the faces revealed were only human, flesh and bone. Pale skin, tired eyes, hair damp with sweat. They looked young, but their gaze was old, full of weight and war. One of them, a woman, spoke softly now, without the metal echo of her helmet. We are people, just like you. We bleed. We fear. But when someone cries for help, we cannot ignore it. Her words were simple, but to the Serana's crew they were almost unbelievable. The youngest alien stepped forward, trembling. She looked at the human woman with wide, fearful eyes. But you don't know us. Why would you help us? The human's expression softened, though her eyes remained sharp. Because once, long ago, we were the ones calling for help, and no one came. We swore never again. The Serana's crew fell silent. Those words held weight, heavy and sharp. The humans were not saviors by nature. They were forged by pain, by loss, by history written in blood. That was why they answered without hesitation. For a moment there was peace inside the Serana. The humans continued their work, repairing what they could. The alien crew slowly ate the food, drinking water like it was life itself. Strength returned to their voices, though their fear had not fully gone. But then the scanner beeped. A sharp sound that froze everyone. The young crew member rushed to the screen. Her eyes widened. Captain, multiple ships. Incoming. The captain staggered forward. The readings were clear. A fleet was approaching. Not human. Not allies. Hunters. The very ones who had chased the Serana, driven them to this hopeless place. Their engines burned bright on the scanner, moving fast, hungry to finish what they started. The alien crew's fragile hope shattered. They had no weapons, no engines, no chance. Even with humans present, could anyone stand against an entire fleet? All eyes turned to the human soldiers. The leader placed his helmet back on, sealing it with a hiss. His voice returned, strong as steel. Stay calm. You are under our protection now. The alien stared in disbelief. Protection. From humans. Against hunters. The shadow in the stars had not come to destroy them. It had come to fight for them. The crew of the Serana realized, with awe and terror, that first contact with humans was not just about survival. It was about something far greater. Because when humans answered a call, they did not walk away. And outside, the Terran warship Valiant prepared to show the galaxy why. The human decision. The scanners of the Serana screamed, louder with every passing second. Red lights flashed across the broken console. The alien crew huddled together, eyes wide with terror. On the screen, the enemy fleet grew larger. 10 ships, then 12, then 15. Their shapes were sharp, built for hunting and killing. Engines, burned bright like fire, moving fast toward the Serana. The hunters had returned. The Serana's crew trembled. They had no weapons, no power, no way to run. This was the end. But not for the humans. Outside, the Terran warship. Valiant stood like a mountain in the dark. Massive, unshaken, weapons glowing faintly. Its presence alone felt like a shield between the Serana and certain death. Still, the alien captain's heart sank. Surely even humans would not risk themselves for strangers. The hunters were too many. No warship could stand against them all. He turned to the humans inside his ship, his voice broken. You should leave us. If you fight for us, you will die. With us. The human leader looked at him through the red glow of his helmet. For a long moment he said nothing. The silence pressed heavy on every soul. Then, at last his voice came, strong, calm, without fear. No. We don't abandon those who call for help. The alien captain froze. His people gasped. The words were simple, but they were final. The humans had decided. The Serana shook as the docking arm released. The Valiant pulled back, drifting away to stand alone against the fleet. Its black armor swallowed the starlight, its weapons humming, louder, brighter. On the Serana, panic and awe mixed together. The alien crew rushed to the windows, staring at the massive ship outside. One whispered, "They will fight for us, against all of them." Another shook his head. "It is madness. They cannot win." But the young crew member, her eyes shining with both fear and hope, whispered back, "They are human. Maybe that is enough." Inside the human warship, the bridge was silent but steady. Officers stood at their stations, eyes locked on the enemy fleet. The hunters were coming fast, weapons already armed. At the center, the human captain stood tall. His uniform was dark, his face lined with age and scars. He had seen war before. He had seen death before. But his eyes were steady, unblinking. His second in command leaned close. "Captain, we are outnumbered 15-1. Orders?" The captain's gaze stayed fixed on the scanner. His voice was calm, almost quiet. "We hold the line." The officer swallowed but nodded. No one questioned. The order. Humans did not hesitate. On the Serana, the alien crew listened to every word through the comms. Their bodies shook with fear. Yet at the same time, something strange stirred inside them. Something they had not felt in weeks. "Hope," the young crew member whispered. "They are not even our people, and still they fight." The captain of the Serana closed his eyes, his voice soft. "This is why humans are feared. Not only because of their strength, but because of their choices." The enemy fleet closed in. Their ships spread wide, circling, like wolves around prey. Weapons glowed bright, targeting the Valiant. The hunters were confident. One warship, no matter how large, could not stop them all. But the humans did not retreat. The Valiant held position, weapons locked, shields rising. It stood like a wall of steel in the dark, refusing to move, refusing to yield. On the bridge, the human captain gave his final command. His voice was steel itself. "Transmit message to all enemy ships, short and clear." The officer typed quickly. "Message ready, Captain." The captain nodded once. "Send it." Across the stars, a single message echoed on every channel. "This is the Terran warship Valiant. You approach a vessel under our protection. Turn back now and or be destroyed." The hunters laughed. The sound of their mocking voices filled the comms. To them, humans were fools, outnumbered, trapped, doomed. But to the Serana's crew, the words were thunder. For the first time in weeks, they did not feel abandoned. They felt shielded, protected. The hunters drew closer. And the humans waited. Inside the Serana, the young crew member pressed her hands against the glass, staring at the warship outside. "Will they really fight for us? Against so many?" The alien captain answered quietly, his voice heavy with awe. "They said they would. That is enough." The crew fell silent. They had no choice now. Their lives were in human hands. And as the enemy fleet surrounded them, the Serana's crew understood something that would stay with them forever. Humans did not make decisions lightly. But once they did, nothing in the stars could turn them away. The hunters armed their weapons. The Valiant's cannons glowed brighter like stars being born. The silence before the storm was heavy, sharp, endless. The humans had chosen. And the galaxy was about to see what that choice meant. The rescue, the stars lit with fire. The hunters came fast, their ships cutting through the void like blades. Red lights flashed across their hulls, their cannons already glowing with energy. They outnumbered the humans 15-1. To the Serana's crew, it looked like death itself, rushing toward them. But the Valiant did not move. The Terran warship held position between the Serana and the fleet, standing like a wall of iron in the dark. Its black armor swallowed the light. Its weapons pulsed brighter, alive with power. The alien crew pressed against the windows, their hearts racing. Every instinct screamed at them to hide, to surrender, to run. But there was nowhere to run. Their survival rested only on the humans now. Then it began. The first hunter ship fired. A beam of searing light shot across the stars, straight toward the Valiant. The Serana's crew cried out, but the human warship answered instantly. Its shields flared, glowing blue for a split second before the attack vanished against them. Then came the reply. The Valiant's main cannon roared, its fire tearing across the darkness. A single beam struck the hunter ship head-on. The enemy vessel exploded in silence, a burst of flame that faded into scattered metal and ash. The Serana's crew gasped. One shot. One kill. The hunters hesitated. For the first time, doubt spread among them. But numbers gave them courage. They closed in from all sides, firing together. Beams of red and gold rained down on the Valiant. The Serana shook as the light filled space. It seemed impossible that one ship could survive. Yet the humans held the line. The Valiant moved with speed that defied its size. It rolled, turned, and struck back with precision. Each blast from its cannons was a hammer blow. Enemy ships burned one after another, their wrecks drifting into the void. On the Serana, the alien crew watched in silence. Their fear was slowly giving way to something else, something they had not felt in so long. Awe. The young crew member pressed her trembling hands against the glass, her eyes wide. They fight, not for themselves. For us. Her voice cracked, but it carried the truth. The humans had no reason to be here. They owed the Serana nothing, and yet they stood between death and the helpless. The alien captain's eyes filled with tears. His voice shook as he whispered, "This is why the galaxy fears them, not because of what they can take, but because of what they refuse to give up." Inside the Valiant, the bridge glowed red with alarms. The officers worked quickly, voices calm but sharp. Shields dropped and rose again. Weapons recharged. Damage reports flashed across the screens. Still, the captain stood firm. His voice carried, through the chaos, steady as stone. "Hold the line, do not break." His crew obeyed without question. Humans had always been this way. In the face of fear, they fought harder. In the face of death, they stood taller. Outside, the hunters grew desperate. They circled like predators, but every strike they made cost them dearly. Another ship exploded, then another. Flames painted the stars. The Serana's crew trembled as they watched. Their small ship shook with every blast, but still they watched, eyes locked on the humans. "They are insane," one whispered. "They should run." "They will not run," another replied. "They already decided." Then, for a moment, silence returned. Only 7 hunter ships remained. They pulled back slightly, gathering together. Their leader's voice echoed across the comms, cruel and mocking. "You cannot win, humans. Leave the weak to die, and we may let you live." The Valiant answered at once. The human captain's voice cut through, cold and sharp. "We do not bargain with cowards." The Serana's crew gasped. To speak with such defiance against overwhelming numbers, it was madness. Yet it was also strength. The hunters roared forward again. The battle turned brutal. The Valiant was struck, shields flaring under the impact. Sparks burst across its hull. Metal groaned. For a heartbeat, the Serana's crew thought the humans might finally fall. But then the warship fired back, unleashing everything. A storm of light and fire tore through the enemy fleet. 2 more hunter ships were ripped apart in seconds. A third tried to retreat, but was caught in the blast. The stars burned with wreckage. The Serana's crew cried out, not in fear this time, but in triumph. They cheered, their weak voices rising with hope they thought was lost forever. At last, only 3 hunter ships remained. Their confidence shattered. They turned and fled into the dark. The humans did not chase. The Valiant held its position, weapons cooling, its massive frame scarred but unbroken. The Serana shook with the sound of alien cries. Tears flowed, hands clasped together. For the first time in weeks, they laughed. The humans had done the impossible. They were alive. The docking arm locked again. The airlock hissed open. Human soldiers returned, their armor scratched, their helmets marked with soot. They carried more supplies now. Medicine, power cells, blankets. One of them spoke, his voice calm but firm. You are safe. As long as we are here, no one will touch you. The alien captain bowed deeply, his voice breaking. We owe you our lives. We owe you everything. The human only shook his head. You owe us nothing. You called. We answered. That is all. The Serana's crew looked at one another, their eyes full of wonder. The humans had saved them, not for reward, not for power, but because they refused to leave anyone behind. And in that moment, the aliens understood the truth hidden behind the fear, behind the legends. Humans were dangerous not because of their weapons, but because of their will. They fought not only for themselves, but for anyone who needed them. And that was what made them unstoppable. The stars grew quiet again. The wrecks of the hunter ships drifted like burning ghosts across the void. Pieces of shattered metal spun slowly, catching the faint light of distant suns. The Serana's crew watched in silence, their hearts racing, their hands trembling. They had survived. But even in victory, fear still clung to them. The Terran warship, Valiant, floated before them, scarred but strong. Its black armor was scorched, its shields weakened, but it had not broken. One ship against 15, yet the humans had stood and they had won. The Serana's crew whispered among themselves. Some called it a miracle, others called it madness. But one truth remained. They were alive because humans had refused to let them die. Inside the Serana, the young crew member smiled for the first time in weeks. They saved us. They really saved us. The captain placed a hand on her shoulder. His tired eyes softened, but he did not smile. Do not celebrate yet. The hunters rarely fight alone. If they sent a fleet, someone greater commanded them. Her smile faded. Greater? He nodded grimly. The hunters serve others. Shadows in the dark. If they know humans are here, they will not stop. The words proved true faster than anyone expected. The scanner beeped. At first, only once. A faint signal, weak and small. But then another. And another. Dozens. The crew rushed to the console. Their blood ran cold. More ships. Hundreds of them. Not hunters. Something worse. The screen filled with a symbol. None of them had hoped to see. A mark of fire carved like a claw. It belonged to the Dominion, the empire that ruled with fear and silence. They did not send small fleets. They sent armadas. They did not chase prey. They erased it. The captain's throat tightened. The Dominion knows. The crew fell into stunned silence. The Valiant received the signal as well. On the human bridge, officers spoke in quick voices, scanning the incoming data. Dozens of ships were forming on the edge of the system. Cruisers, destroyers, battleships, an entire Dominion force. The human second in command leaned toward the captain. Sir, this is no hunter pack. This is war. The captain's jaw tightened. His voice was calm but heavy with weight. They want the Serana silenced. No witnesses. And they want us gone. The officer nodded grimly. If they surround us, even the Valiant cannot hold. Back on the Serana, panic returned. The crew cried out, voices shaking with terror. They had barely survived the hunters. Against the Dominion there was no chance at all. They will crush us, one alien sobbed. They will crush everyone, another whispered. Not even humans can fight an empire. The young crew member turned to the captain. Her eyes were wide, desperate. What will they do? Will the humans leave us? The captain looked out the window at the Valiant. His voice was quiet, almost broken. That is the question. What choice will they make now? The answer came quickly. The comms crackled, the human captain's voice steady as stone. We see the fleet. We are not leaving you. The Serana's crew gasped. They could hardly believe the words. Not leaving? Against hundreds? The human voice continued. We will buy you time, you will live, that is our promise. The aliens stared at one another, speechless. Buy us time? One whispered. They would die for us? Another asked. The young crew member pressed her hands to her chest. Her voice shook, but it was full of awe. They already chose, and when humans choose, nothing can turn them away. On the human bridge, the captain stood tall. His crew watched him in silence, waiting for orders. They were outnumbered, facing death, but not one officer doubted him. Not one questioned. He spoke with calm certainty. Signal Earth Command. Tell them what we've found. Then lock shields. Ready weapons. If the Dominion wants war, they will have it. The Serana's crew could only watch as the Valiant prepared. Its weapons hummed. Its engines roared. Its shields flared bright. The black warship turned slowly, placing itself once more between the Dominion fleet and the helpless alien vessel. It stood alone. But it stood without fear. The alien captain whispered, softly almost to himself. Why? Why risk everything for us? The young crew member answered, her voice steady at last. Because they remember what it feels like to be abandoned, and they swore no one else would suffer the same. The scanner blazed with light. The Dominion fleet closed in, their massive ships forming like a storm on the horizon. The stars themselves seemed to vanish behind their numbers. The Serana's crew trembled. The Valiant's crew stood ready. And in that terrible silence before battle, one truth echoed across both ships. The hunters had been only the beginning. The real enemy had arrived. The hidden enemy. The warship's answer. The Dominion fleet filled. The stars. Dozens of warships cut across the black void, their hulls shining with crimson light. Cruisers, destroyers, and battleships moved in perfect formation, surrounding the smaller alien vessel like a pack of predators. Their weapons glowed, hungry to fire. The Serana's crew sat frozen in terror. They had thought the hunters were death itself, but this was worse. The Dominion was not a pack of wolves, it was an ocean of fire. Against such power, there was no hope. No hope. Except for one ship. The Terran warship Valiant. It stood between the Serana and the Dominion, a lone shadow against a storm. Its black armor was cracked and scarred from the last battle, but its weapons still pulsed with light. To the Serana's crew, it looked impossibly small against the fleet before it. And yet the humans stood unshaken. The comms flared. The Dominion's voice filled both ships, cold, cruel, dripping with arrogance. Terran vessel, surrender the alien ship. Leave this system and we will allow you to live. Resist and you will be destroyed. Silence followed. The alien crew held their breath. Would the humans accept? Could they? Surely even humans would not fight an empire alone. Then the reply came. The human captain's voice was steady, calm and sharp as a blade. This is the Terran warship Valiant. You will not touch them. They called for help. We answered. And we do not abandon those under our protection. The word struck like thunder. The Serana's crew gasped. The Dominion roared with laughter across the comms. But the humans did not laugh. They were deadly serious. The first Dominion cruiser fired. A beam of burning red shot across space, straight toward the Valiant. The human warship answered without hesitation. Its shields flared bright, absorbing the strike. Then its cannons unleashed a storm of fire. Beams of blue and white tore through the dark, cutting across the enemy formation. One Dominion ship exploded in silence, its wreck spinning into the void. The Serana's crew cried out in awe. The Valiant was fighting again. But the battle was different now. The hunters had been dangerous. The Dominion was unstoppable. The sky burned with endless fire. Dominion ships surrounded the Valiant on all sides, striking together. The human warship rolled, turned, and answered with brutal precision. Enemy ships fell one after another, but for everyone destroyed. More pressed forward. On the Serana, the alien crew clung to their seats as the ship shook from the force of nearby blasts. Fear surged inside them, but so did something else. Something stronger than fear. Hope. The young crew member whispered, her eyes shining. They fight for us. Against an empire. Against everyone. They fight for us. Her words carried through the room, and for the first time, the crew believed it. They were not just survivors anymore. They were witnesses. Witnesses to something greater. Inside the Valiant, alarms screamed. Sparks flew across the bridge. The shields were failing. The weapons were burning hot. The crew worked without rest, voices sharp and fast. Yet the captain stood calm, his hands steady. His voice cut through the chaos like steel. Do not break. Hold the line. His officers obeyed. Not one turned away. Humans did not hesitate. Another Dominion battleship exploded under the Valiant's fire. But 3 more closed in, cannons glowing bright. The Serana's crew cried out as the human warship shook under the impact. Its armor cracked. Its shields flickered. For a moment it seemed the humans would fall. Then the captain gave one final order. His voice was thunder itself. Release everything. Let them remember who we are. The Valiant unleashed its fury. All cannons fired at once, the soundless roar of light filling the void. Torpedoes streaked through the dark. Beams of blue fire cut across the enemy fleet. One by one, Dominion ships shattered, torn apart by the storm. The Serana's crew pressed against the windows, their eyes wide, their mouths open in awe. The black warship glowed like a star, burning brighter than the enemy. The Dominion fleet wavered. Fear spread among them. They had come expecting an easy kill. Instead, they had met humans. At last, the Dominion broke. Their ships turned, retreating into the dark, leaving wrecks behind. The battlefield was silent again, littered with burning ghosts. The Valiant floated scarred, wounded, but alive. It had not yielded. And neither had the humans. The docking arm locked once more. Human soldiers stepped back into the Serana, their armor dented, their helmets scarred, yet their voices were steady. You are safe, one said simply. The Dominion is gone. The alien captain bowed so low his forehead touched the floor. His voice broke. We owe you everything. Our lives, our future, our hope. We will never forget. The human leader shook his head. His voice was calm, unshaken. You owe us nothing. You called. We answered. That is what we do. The Serana's crew wept openly. For weeks, they had been lost, alone, forgotten. And yet in the deepest darkness, when all hope was gone, humanity had come. Humanity had fought. Humanity had answered without hesitation. The young crew member whispered softly, her voice full of awe. They are not feared because they destroy. They are feared because they protect, because when they decide to fight, nothing can stop them. And so the Serana drifted no longer in silence, but in light, shielded by the most dangerous truth in the galaxy. When humans answered a call, they never turned away. And when they fought for more than themselves. They fought for everyone.